The late 19th century in America was a time of unprecedented change. The Industrial Revolution reshaped the American landscape. Big business emerged with titans like Rockefeller, Carnegie, and Morgan. The traditional model of small-scale production gave way to the corporation. These entities, with vast capital and efficiency, exploited industrial age opportunities. Railroads exemplified this era's transformative power, connecting raw materials to markets. But the success of these giants came at a cost, leading to monopolies and trusts. Small-scale production gave way to corporations. Vast capital and efficiency exploited opportunities. Railroads connected raw materials to markets. Success led to monopolies and trusts. The rise of big business brought prosperity for some, but for many it meant long hours and dangerous conditions. The gap between rich and poor widened. A growing chorus demanded reform. By the 20th century, the U.S. faced a crossroads. Unfettered capitalism created inequality. The nation had to balance free market dynamism with economic justice. The struggle to rein in monopolies had begun. The rise of big business was linked to remarkable technological advancement. Mass production, pioneered by Henry Ford, transformed goods production. This consumer revolution made luxury items affordable. The de-skilling of labor fueled labor unrest. Railroads became the lifeblood of the American economy. They led to the creation of large corporations. Railroads stimulated growth in steel, timber, and other sectors. They played a pivotal role in westward migration. Railroad barons amassed unprecedented power, controlling transportation and dictating fortunes. They symbolized corporate greed and unchecked power. Railroads consolidated for efficiency and profit. Barons slashed rates to eliminate rivals. Consolidation concentrated power in few hands. Railroad barons were visionaries and ruthless businessmen. Their legacy is one of unchecked power and corporate greed. Industrialists like John D. Rockefeller built monopolies. Standard Oil controlled the oil industry, crushing competitors. Rockefeller's strategy used horizontal and vertical integration. By the late 1800s, Standard Oil controlled 90% of oil refining. Standard Oil became the most infamous Gilded Age monopoly. Powerful companies emerged, consolidating control and stifling competition.
I, Andrew Carnegie, built Carnegie Steel into a behemoth. Like Rockefeller, I controlled every stage of steel production.
Section 4. A nation at their mercy. Monopolies gripped the American economy. Farmers felt powerless. Small business owners were threatened.
Workers toiled in dangerous conditions.
Monopolies corroded democracy. Public outcry grew. Reformers challenged monopolies. The unchecked power of monopolies and trusts did not go unchallenged. Across the nation, a wave of discontent began to rise, fueled by a growing sense of injustice.
Farmers, laborers, and small business owners found common cause in their opposition to big business.
The railroads, with their control over transportation, became a particular target of public anger. Farmers chafed at high shipping rates, feeling trapped in a cycle of debt.
Laborers facing dangerous conditions and low wages began to organize. Strikes swept through industries as workers sought to make their voices heard.
As public anger at big business mounted, a new breed of journalist emerged. These muckrakers exposed monopolies and their impact on society.
Armed with facts, they used the press to challenge big business. Their articles reached a wide audience, galvanizing public opinion.
Tackling issues from unsanitary meatpacking conditions to child labor.
Critics called them sensationalists, but their impact was undeniable.
Among the muckrakers, one name stands out. Ida Tarbell, who took on John D. Rockefeller and his Standard Oil Company. Tarbell's father had been driven out of business by Standard Oil, and she understood the company's ruthless tactics.
Her exposé in McClure's magazine was a masterpiece of investigative journalism. She documented the company's history, detailing its predatory pricing, secret deals with railroads, and use of espionage to crush competitors.
Tarbell's writing was clear, concise, and devastating. She presented a compelling case against Standard Oil's power.
The muckrakers' work demonstrated the power of the press to hold the powerful accountable and to serve as a catalyst for social change. Their investigations into monopolies raised public awareness of unchecked corporate power.
The muckrakers' legacy is complex and multifaceted. They have been praised for their courage and commitment to social justice. They have also been criticized for their sensationalism and biases.
Regardless, their impact is undeniable. They changed how Americans viewed big business and exposed the dark side of the Gilded Age.
The public outcry against the unchecked power of monopolies reached a fever pitch by the late 19th century. Americans from all walks of life felt the suffocating grip of these corporate giants on their livelihoods. The clamor for reform could no longer be ignored.
The Gilded Age exposed a dark underbelly of American capitalism. The concentration of wealth and power seemed to mock the ideals of equality and opportunity. The time had come for the government to step in and restore balance.
In 1890, Congress took a bold step to curb the power of monopolies and trusts. The Sherman Antitrust Act, named after Senator John Sherman, sought to restore competition and protect consumers.
The act declared illegal any contract or conspiracy in restraint of trade or commerce. It outlawed business practices that aimed to monopolize a market.
The Sherman Antitrust Act was not a silver bullet. Its broad language left interpretation to the courts.
Despite limitations, it marked a turning point in government and big business relations.
A landmark case, the breakup of Standard Oil. The Sherman Antitrust Act faced its first major test with Standard Oil, the oil empire built by John D. Rockefeller.
By the early 20th century, Standard Oil symbolized corporate greed, controlling 90% of the nation's oil refining.
In 1906, under President Theodore Roosevelt, the U.S. Department of Justice filed suit against Standard Oil, accusing the company of violating the Sherman Antitrust Act.
In 1911, the U.S. Supreme Court found Standard Oil guilty of unreasonable restraint of trade. The court ordered the company to be broken up into 34 smaller companies.
The breakup of Standard Oil sent shockwaves through corporate America. The Sherman Antitrust Act and the breakup of Standard Oil marked the beginning of a new era of government regulation of business. Congress passed laws to strengthen antitrust enforcement, prevent unfair competition, and protect consumers.
These laws established the Federal Trade Commission to investigate and prosecute antitrust violations. They outlawed practices like price fixing and predatory pricing.
The government's role expanded during the Great Depression with the New Deal. President Roosevelt launched programs for relief, recovery, and reform.
The New Deal created agencies like the Securities and Exchange Commission to protect investors. It also established Social Security, creating a social safety net.
These measures laid the groundwork for a more regulated and fairer economy. Section 5. The Enduring Legacy. The legacy of the Gilded Age and the rise of monopolies is complex. This era saw unprecedented economic growth and technological innovation, transforming the U.S. into an industrial powerhouse. However, the concentration of wealth led to social and economic inequality, labor unrest, and a crisis of confidence in capitalism. Efforts to rein in monopolies left an enduring legacy on American society. They established the principle that the government regulates the economy and protects the public interest. Section 1. The Echoes of Monopoly. The echoes of the Gilded Age's battles against monopolies reverberate today. Images of smokestacks and teeming factories seem like relics. Yet questions from that period still challenge us. Can we harness capitalism without unchecked greed? The faces of monopolies have changed, but tactics remain familiar. Section 2. A New Gilded Age. As wealth inequality once again reaches levels unseen since the first Gilded Age, it's hard not to draw parallels between these two eras, separated by a century yet bound by common threads of economic transformation and social unrest. The glittering towers of today's tech empires rise above a landscape where millions struggle to make ends meet, a stark visual reminder of the uneven distribution of prosperity in the 21st century. Section 3. The unfinished business of democracy. The fight against monopolies is about the soul of our democracy, ensuring the marketplace serves the many, not just the few, safeguarding fair play, equal opportunity, and accountable government. The legacy of trustbusters reminds us of our role in shaping the nation. Even powerful corporations are not above the law. The battle against monopolies is a marathon, not a sprint. It requires vigilance and engagement. We must hold officials accountable for a just society.